Hi, everybody. I'm Angelyn. Thank you for coming to see what the cards have to say today about the month of April. Happy April Fool's Day, by the way. I hope that you have been able to play at least one good trick on somebody else. I'm really challenging myself to do things a lot more off the cuff and just trust that I have what I need. And so we're going to do that again today, where I'm drawing the cards with no time to look at them, which is outside of my comfort, but that's okay. Oh, very cool. So, how did you guys feel like the cards went for last month? There was a lot going on last month. Okay. I mean, I'd love to hear. but right now we're going to go on with April. Now, today is a new moon, and we are at the beginning of the Aries season, which is the beginning of the zodiac year. So we're at the beginning of the zodiac year and a new moon. So it's a really, really, really good time to set intent. I always like to set intent during the new moon, regardless of what you think about the moon or the people who are into the moon or whatever. Consider setting some intent for today, for the month at the very least. It's a time, so the new moon is a time when the moon is actually in between where the sun is and we are, Earth. So it looks invisible because on the other side of the moon is where the sun is reflecting back. So it's bright on the other side. So we're seeing the dark side of the moon. So it's really interesting to me that the very first card we draw for April, we get it out of the sun, is the new moon card. Ooh, I love it when stuff like that happens. So this is a call for us to set intent. And I'm seeing quite clearly that the intent for the beginning of the month, I am seeing, so the next card is the Chariot card. Well, the Chariot card is about victory and leadership and, the ability to carry a lot, but also being in this position because you can, because you've done a lot. You have already achieved a lot. So what this tells me is we want to set intent for all of us collectively to have a solid understanding that we've just gone through something and we're headed into whatever's coming next with tools that we need. And so for me personally, I would probably set the intent for ongoing understanding, for being able to move forward gracefully and with ease. Yeah, those go together so nicely. So the next couple of cards, the next card is the Fool. Brand new. The Fool is always about a brand new adventure. Now, once again, the Fool is facing the opposite direction of Chariot, which means that the Chariot and the new moon have their own little message. And did I do it backwards? Yeah. And the Tower and the Fool have their own little message. So the Fool is about beginning brand new, some kind of adventure, something that you don't know that much about. The Fool is usually young, and that indicates naivete, maybe a lack of knowledge around something, but hopeful and excited. The Fool is facing the Tower. Now, the Tower, a lot of people see it and it's like, ah! I used to tense up whenever I would get it. I mean, look, there's a woman falling off of a tower and down a cliff. I've come to believe over time that this is not so bad of a card. All this card is telling us is that we are in a place where something is about to move that we're probably not expecting. Sorry. That we're probably not expecting, and that could feel like a really big shakeup. Now, the Fool being part of this 2-card little story, I think, is that we won't necessarily know so much about what that's going to be. We might be heading into this Tower time without a whole lot of experience or knowledge, but a whole lot of hope. And, that's a little disconcerting, but honestly, if you're going to move into a Tower time where things are shifting that are fundamental to you, again, this is a collective read, so it sounds to me like there's something in our collective that it needs to be shaken up and moved. And it seems like we probably won't know that much about how it's going to go. Now, the outcome card for the first part of the month is also a major arcana card. What that means is that, so there's the major arcana and the minor arcana. The minor arcana is like when you get into the suits, and so like the wands, the swords, the pentacles, the cups. The major arcana are the ones that are like big hitters, and they are their own sort of unique section of the deck. When we draw a bunch of major arcana cards, I tend to think that there's a lot of karmic lessons. Like sometimes I feel like they show up when there's a lot of karmic lessons. So the outcome card is also a major arcana card, but it's the Sun, and the Sun is about manifestation and about like having the energy around you to create something that and actually bring it forth into the world rather than just thinking about it. It's like all that energy that you need to actually make it happen is going to be with us. It is electric. It is masculine. It is, it makes things feel sometimes bigger and more real. Now, that's the outcome card for the first couple of weeks of April, which are about setting intent that we can get through this, whatever's coming, with victory, with whatever it is that we need, remembering that we have done well before, remembering that we have earned our position here, and still not having necessarily all of the knowledge or awareness of what is coming. Like there's the Fool makes the element of we don't fully understand what's happening a lot more real. So there's something that's going to fall in our culture, in our society, in our collective world, and we're probably going to feel a little bit unprepared. The Sun is going to make it feel bigger than it is. And that might be really uncomfortable. In fact, it probably will be really uncomfortable. So let's see what the second half of April says, because this is, that feels a little bit like, okay, let's get ready for whatever's coming. Okay, so the second half of the month, we have the 8 of Swords, clarity, moving through. See how you can see the home on the other side of the Swords? To me, this card is a lot about there's some thinking pattern that's in the way between me and my goal. I'm trying to get over there where that house is, And I keep hitting the microphone, and I'm really sorry. I promise I am getting better at this. um, the swords are the swords represent the way we think, right? Or mental awareness and capacity. So there is some sort of mental block between where we are and where we want to go. If I had to guess, I would say that it's probably because of whatever we're having to restructure and refigure out without that fundamental thing that we used to have as our foundational piece that has just fallen with the tower. There's probably going to be a little bit of what the heck is going on. I can't really see where I'm trying to go. I know it's over there, but I can't see it, and I can't get there. So this is in the middle of April. As we move on in the second half of April, we have the Two of Wands. This is I love this card. This card is about ideas, like antenna and electricity just going, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's often called the Gemini card, and I'm a Gemini, and so that's how I remember that this card, because that's how my brain is all the time. It just never stops. It's just like that all the time. It's it's wonderful and terrible at the same time. So what this tells me is that we're going to recognize that there is something in between here and where we want to be, and there will be movement around, like, what do we do? How do we move around this? And that could look like a lot of different things. That could look like, groups of people talking about whatever the tower moment is. It could be sitting around talking with your friends about whatever's going on. It could be your own ideas about how you can, on a microcosm level, between, with you, your family, your friends, etc., move through and into a new way of doing things. It could also just indicate that there is going to be movement and action around getting through this and getting to the other side. Will take ideas and movement, and we have support in that. I like that, actually. I think that works really well. Okay, the Lovers is next. We get the Lovers a lot, I feel like, in these readings. And if you remember, the Lovers, the way that I view the Lovers is like a perfect figure eight, where there's giving and receiving, and there's giving and receiving, and there's masculine and feminine, and giving and receiving, and it's very balanced. And as I give, you receive, and as you give, I receive. And there's no off balance. It's just perfectly, I have a blend called mutuality, and that is the Lover's card, is that blend. It's the ability to, at the same time, work together. I use it a lot when I've got classes, when I have people coming over, for harmony between my son and I when we're at home together. It's about this like constant movement of being able to give and being able to receive. So what that indicates to me is that we will move into a time collectively where there is more harmony, and we're able to see this movement rather than, sometimes we get stuck in, lopsided relationships, whether that's with the school system, with our attorney, with our CPA, with our family, with our community. And there's more harmony here. So again, the second half of the month, we're going to recognize that we're not entirely in exactly the place we want to be, because we can see what we want, but we can't really get there. There's going to be a lot of ideas, a lot of things moving, a lot of action to help us get there. And then that time of harmony, that time of, oh, we understand. We're going to be able to go and move together, back and forth and back and forth. The last card for the month is the Knight of Swords. He always fights for a cause. I always feel a very primal, like that's what I always think of with this guy is primal energy. Like, I know what I want, I'm going to get it, and I'm on my way. Thanks. It's something that I feel like that he activates something very deep within us. That feeling when something that feels almost animalistic makes you react, or something that's almost animalistic at the very base and core of who you are attracts you to something or someone or some group. That's the energy of the Knight of Swords. And I just really love, look at it. He's on a mission. He knows what he's going to be doing, and he's going to do it. So I feel like this last sort of part of April is going to be about recognizing this position we're in after the Tower and subsequently moving out of it and into a more peaceful time. He indicates that there's going to be sort of a honing in on something in particular, but we don't know what that is yet. We won't know until it happens. The outcome card for the second half of the month is the Judgment card. The Judgment card is about learning from your mistakes, not repeating the same mistakes over and over and over like we all do. We all do it. We all do it. But this card is calling us to not do it, to learn from our mistakes, to learn from whatever happens at the beginning of the month, and to be able to move through the second half of the month with confidence, balance, ideas, movement, to follow the action and to follow the harmony, to be able to find that and follow it. And we're able to find that harmony when we can learn from our mistakes and not keep doing the same thing over and over, right? It's all good. So remember, this is what I'm gathering for this month. Come into the month remembering who you are. Remember the Chariot. Come into the month remembering who you are and all that you've done to get to this place. And know that whatever tower falls for our collective unit is going to fall. And, we may or may not understand it. And it doesn't matter. It's okay. Our job is to get through it. We have the support to get through it. We may not see the way initially, but we need to trust in what comes, because it's going to come. And we're going to have the harmonious experience that we all are after and that we all love having. So thank you for joining me for the April 2022 card reading. I so appreciate you guys supporting this adventure of mine. I love hearing feedback about what you want to hear more of, what you want, questions that you may have, topics that you might like for me to cover. There's an infinite amount of things that I could talk about, and I really love teaching. So I really would love to hear from you guys if you have anything to say. I will be seeing you around Discord chat. Don't forget your Discord chat this month. And of course, you can always leave comments or message me if you have questions. Okay. Thanks as always for supporting this and for supporting me. Have a great month.